Hey everybody, ronarray here, and GGG just released a new patch for PoE Exile 2, changing the 3 elital and adding the new nodes. And I think it will heavily affect building for most of the Chaos Inoculation builds or just Energy Shield builds in general. In this video, I'm going to quickly go over the nodes themselves and will explain at what point you will need to pick them and how you can benefit from them overall. Also, I'm going to showcase how it's going to affect my builds such as Lightning Spear Invoker and Nuke Wave Invoker as well. All of that should be useful for any build that using Energy Shield, and I'm also going to explain if we will be able to save points just going for the new passives. Let's go! So from the start of Dawn on the Hunt, most of the builds that we played with Chaos Inoculation, which is giving you maximum life is 1, immune to chaos damage and bleeding, played around as separate mechanics to battle chill, ignite, shock, freeze and stun in general. Before that, we needed to go here to the left and take Asceticism together with Self-Mortification. That's been the basic setup for CI build and both hybrid build as well, because that way you can get more stun threshold and it helped us a lot. However, in the endgame, I recommended to just drop it completely and use the jewels, which providing gain additional stun threshold equal to 10% of maximum energy shield. With that setup, we could save points, because going here to Self-Mortification and Asceticism is not really well. We will need to spend at least 4 points going through attributes, and there's not a lot of good passives around. But the biggest problem being all that time, that to counter freeze, we needed to take Icebreaker, because Icebreaker been giving us 50% of maximum energy shield as additional free threshold. So that's been a very big downside. We need to spend 4 points here going for Icebreaker, and we needed to spend additional points here for Self-Mortification and Asceticism. However, GGG added new nodes right here, which is Abasement and Shimmering Mirage. And those nodes are absolutely amazing. We're going to use them in most of the builds for Chaos Inoculation, and I think even for hybrid builds that play in both Life and Energy Shield, those nodes are still worth it. So first part, you're receiving Element Threshold and Stun Threshold at the same time. Before that, such combined nodes been only up there, and you needed to pretty much go and invest into particular parts. For example, Hello being given Element Threshold and Stun Threshold at the same time. But unfortunately, Self-Mortification and Asceticism been just given Stun Threshold without Element Threshold. So right now, Shimmering Mine and Abasement here is going to fix both our stun issues and Element Threshold issues. First, you're receiving 8% of both stun and Element Threshold, after that 12, and the last node give 30. So all of them together give 50% of Element Threshold, the same amount as Icebreaker is given, which been given 50% of maximum energy shield as additional freeze threshold. So it providing the same protection against freeze as Icebreaker. But the biggest change is that Shimmering Mirage is also protecting you against shock, chill and ignite. Considering the chill being a huge issue, and in my build we've been using Silver Charm, for example, your speed is unaffected by slow, to just battle constant chills that happened while we've been using Chaos Inoculation. So right now, just using 3 points right here and taking Shimmering Mirage is absolutely mandatory, because that way your element threshold is going to jump, you will have reduced duration of elements on you. And there's also 2 additional points for Abasement for stun threshold. I'm currently still using jewels, so gain additional stun threshold equal to 9% of maximum energy shield. However, on higher levels, there will be an amazing option replacing those jewels with Abasement and taking the jewels. We have an open suffix right here, that way if we will drop gain additional stun threshold equal to maximum % of energy shield, and at least on a few jewels we will be able to completely replace it with additional damage. such as crit chance for example, which is going to work just perfectly for the build. So for now, if you're playing Chaos Inoculation, I recommend to take at least Shimmer and Mirage, and if you're on a low budget, it's recommended to take Abasement as well. I'm going to add it to most of my build guides because I think it's working just perfectly. On middle budget, if you already have jewels with stun threshold percentage, I think you can just keep them in. However, on the higher level, I would probably recommend to replace those jewels with additional damage ones and take Abasement again. And right now, I think that cluster will be absolutely mandatory for all builds with Energy Shield, and it's going to stay on top compared to Self-Mortification and Ascetism, so we don't need to go there ever again. We can just focus on the new cluster, take both passives, and live happily ever after. And another important question is where we can get enough points to pretty much invest both in Abasement and Shimmer Mirage. So generally, if you've been playing Icebreaker before, I recommend to just get rid of Icebreaker, that's 4 points, and you can invest 3 points right here. The last point can go for Evasion and Energy Shield if you're playing it, or just for Energy Shield up there. I think it's a pretty decent option. But it could be not enough to take an Abasement as well. In that case, if you're taking the last jewel as I recommended down there, you can drop it out and save 3 points right here and move those points without the jewel just up there and invest them in Abasement. I think in terms of amount of power that one cluster can provide, that cluster will be very good. So that way I definitely recommend to take that. And even if you play it without any other things like that, just investing some points, taking them off your damage is probably a great idea. And another important thing that I want to mention, I think that cluster that currently right there will probably make Chaos Inoculation more popular as an option. Because before some people decided not to take Chaos Inoculation, mostly because freeze and chill been a very huge problem. And if Icebreaker been protecting against freeze, there will be no proper protection against chill except the charm. So I think right now that new cluster is going to make Chaos Inoculation significantly more popular, because by itself it's a pretty strong node, immunity to chaos damage, helping you significantly, because it's much easier to cap your resistances and you can just focus on damage in your tree. So I hope more people will at least try Chaos Inoculation. I've been playing it for some time and I think it's pretty decent, and you can still keep a pretty nice amount of tankiness too, especially if you're going to run high energy helmet and if you're going to invest into Subterfuge Mask, which gives you evasion based on maximum energy shield on equipped helmet. And generally, I think those new nodes are definitely great, and let me know in the comments what do you think about that. Will you try Chaos Inoculation, or you just happy that we currently will not suffer from chill, shock and ignite anymore? Thank you very much for watching as usual, and ronarray out.